This is a virtual reading of Conspirators, To Each His Own Agenda by Mag Gupta.
Chapter 21. Dacia. Alfil was still asleep when Gilorn came in, his horse grunting impatiently through the window. Gilorn smiled down at her, seeing the beautiful woman who had run home naked after their first encounter. He sighed. Seeing her so peaceful was somewhat arousing to him. He sat down on the hay mattress and placed a hand on her stomach. She woke in an instant and pounced on him, placing a blade by his manhood and another to his neck. It took Gilorn a moment to register his surprise, letting out a slight yelp. "Oh, it's you," she said, lowering the knives. "I nearly unmanned you." "Yes," Gilorn panted, still shocked. "I noticed." "What are you doing? I thought you were in Sea Ward." "I came back with the advance guard," Gilorn said, noting that she was still on top of him. "We're garrisoning in Islesfield, while the lords are in the capital." "So why are you here?" Alfil asked. She, on the other hand, didn't seem to notice her position. "Islesfield is that way." "I know that." Gilorn looked at her in annoyance. "Legate Turgon has given me a job of training up a bow militia. I thought you could stay in Islesfield with me." "Is the sun even up?" Alfil grunted, looking through their window. "Not quite," Gilorn said. "I rode over from the fortress." "Oh, by my father's cock," Alfil sighed, falling back into bed and tugging the sheet back over herself. "Come back when it's morning." Gilorn chuckled and took off his cloak. His horse huffed through the window and began grazing on the grass by the house. He took off his clothes and lay down next to her. She grunted in discomfort as she moved to make room for him. He worked his way under the sheet and wrapped his arms around her. After a while, she relaxed and held his hands with hers as she fell asleep. Gilorn had been riding long and hard, but he was still energized, so he didn't sleep. He simply listened to Alfil breathing and soaked in her warmth, countering the chill that fed in through the open window. Finally, the sun rose, and the farmyard animals were starting to awaken. When he heard the sounds of people outside, he roused Alfil again. "Morning yet?" she muttered grumpily. "Yes," Gilorn whispered in her ear. "You stay in bed. I'll make breakfast." It didn't take him long. He wanted to be on her good side, so he made her lemon cakes, her favorite, and a rarity in Dacia. She was sitting up when he came back, her nightdress falling down her shoulders in the passively seductive way her dresses always did. He chuckled slightly, remembering the first time he saw her dress like this, and his manhood began to swell in his undergarments. She ate the cakes happily, though they were more a lemon-flavored porridge, but she couldn't finish them all. Once she finished her milk, she looked up at Gilorn expectantly. "So, how was the wedding?" "I didn't get to see the wedding," Gilorn shrugged. "Only the feast before it." "And how was that?" "Loud," Gilorn said, after a moment's thought. "We got ambushed by pirates on the way there. A lot of good men died, so I wasn't in much mood for celebrating." Alfil rubbed her hand on his, spreading the smell of lemons over him. "Well," she said after a moment, "did you meet anyone nice?" Gilorn smiled. "I shared words with the Prince of Horseland, Tiberius. He taught me how to ride my horse. The king was something else entirely, though." "A bad man?" "No, just completely barbaric. I don't think I've ever seen a bigger man. He ended up shaving himself with his axe for the wedding." Alfil laughed, choking slightly on her cake. "I like him already." Well, after the wedding, the general and the others cooked up a plan to deal with the steward's plotting. They plan on raising an army to combat the threats from all around, so they want me to train up a militia force to garrison the eastern border while the armies are away. I told you I didn't want you involved in any Roman civil war. Alfil sighed in annoyance. You're going to get yourself killed. I'm just training people to shoot bows, Gilorn reiterated. And anyway, this is our chance to live a good life. We'll be living in Islesfield itself. You'll be leading the florists and the healers there. You'll never be bored. My place is here, Gilorn, Alfil sighed. I can't just leave. My family is here. Islesfield isn't far, Gilorn smiled reassuredly. It's only a day's ride, less if we go through the wild. I don't want to go to Islesfield, Alfil admitted. I like it here. I've lived here all my life. Gilorn sighed. My love, I'm going to Islesfield. I swore my services to them, and I keep my promises. I just want you with me. I miss you. Then stay here. You know I can't. Gilorn gazed at her apologetically. He paused as a sudden inspiration came to him, and he stood up. What happened to that girl who made love to me right outside her father's window, just because she could? I got caught, Alfil said sternly, but she blushed as the memory came back to her. I ended up having to marry you as a result. But we still had fun, didn't we? Even when your father was lecturing us, you still let me. I don't need that reminder, thank you, Alfil interrupted. And for once, we'll have a proper bed and walls that actually keep the cold out. Alfil folded her arms, just as a slight chill blew through the open window. Gilorn, it's a Roman fort. I can't live with Romans. They're the enemy. My grandfather died fighting them. So did mine, Gilorn reminded her. Hating them won't bring them back. Our own people aren't exactly my best friends. What happened to your father was a crime, Alfil sighed, once again recalling the event. I'm moving to Islesfield. I want you with me, he said, as resolutely as he could. The exitum is upon us. Civil war is in the air. When it comes, no one will defend us. We need the Romans if we're to survive. Alfil thought on this, looking at the frayed string that was holding the door closed and seeing his point. Fine, she seemed to visibly deflate. But I'm bringing my axe, and I'll be right back here if one of them looks at me wrong. I forgot about the axe, Gilorn sighed. After a few hours, they set about packing what few belongings they had and loading them into a small wagon, which they attached to his horse. The horse, despite being bred for war, was glad to have something to do and cheerfully set off, only just waiting for Gilorn to mount up. They went to Alfil's family's home, where they told her mother and father where they were going. Alfil's father was happy to see them go, but Alfil's mother pleaded with them to stay. Her father talked her down though, and she gave in. They reached the fortress by sundown, and Gilorn came out to meet them. About time, he said, embracing Gilorn and noticing Alfil. Turgon's been yelling for you for hours now. Oh dear, Gilorn let out a worried exhale. I'd better go see him. Certainly, Gilorn said. I'll look after the wonderful lady. I'm sure you'll try. Alfil shook her head with boredom. In their youth, Gilorn had repeatedly tried to court her in the most unimpressive ways possible, and even now she was bored of it. You can simply take me to my husband's room in the castle. I hope there's something to eat here, she said to Gilorn. But judging by the look of this place, I don't expect there to be anything good. Don't condemn the castle for its exterior, my love. Gilorn kissed her on the cheek. I'll be back as soon as I can. And with that, he rushed up to the citadel. He opened the door and something heavy flew past his head. "Cock-sucking sissies," Turgon shouted. "Find me someone who can actually cook some food." Gilorn entered cautiously. "There you are, Kingslayer," Turgon bellowed at him. "Come here." Gilorn did as he was told and approached Turgon. "Yes, General," he offered, when he was close enough but out of stabbing range. "Where the fuck have you been?" "Bringing my wife to the fortress, sir. It took me longer than I thought." "I'm sure it did," Turgon sneered. "I trust you made up for lost time with her, though." "I did, sir." Gilorn bit his lip, trying desperately not to smile. "Excellent," Turgon laughed, then changed the subject immediately. "Can she cook?" Gilorn was taken aback. "Yes?" "Good," he gestured to Cullis. "Find my cook and cut out his tongue. His food tastes like he pissed in it." "Wouldn't it just be easier to simply send him away?" Cullis asked. "We don't have anyone to clean up blood from the floors." "And my wife is more of a flower gatherer and alchemist rather than a cook," Gilorn agreed. "I don't care, find me a new cook," Turgon shouted. "I can't run a fortress if I need to shit myself every 5 minutes." "Yes, sir," Cullis grinned. "And I must say, sir, I really have missed you." "Of course you have," Turgon shouted. "Everyone misses me. Now get me some wine." "There isn't any," Cullis shrugged. "We haven't resupplied since the feast before you left for the wedding." "What kind of answer is that?" Turgon bellowed. "Go get more then." "We can't, sir," Cullis said. "We have no more money left. We're just getting by with what we have, and that's with the men leaving." "Orc tits," Turgon shouted. "What was Faelthor thinking?" "His gaze is probably distorted by the nobles of the citadel," Gilorn offered. "Isn't there anything in the fortress vaults?" "No," Cullis glared at him. "We need the general to send us money from his creditors or something at least." "Send a rider," Turgon ordered. "We need money, and we need it now." "Yes, sir," Cullis said, saluting. "What are you still doing here?" Turgon shouted. "Move." "Shall I just wait until tomorrow, sir?" Gilorn asked. "Get out of sight," Turgon shouted. "If you don't have wine or food, then you're of no use to me." "Yes, sir," Gilorn sighed, and he left. He went back into the courtyard, which was bustling with people that he hadn't noticed before. Men and young boys were training with wooden swords, practicing the same 3-move maneuver over and over again. Against the walls were target dummies, at which men with short and long bows were shooting with varying accuracy. Gilorn watched them all for a moment, and then departed to his room. Alfel was simply standing there, looking around the room. The door opened with a loud creak, but she knew it was him without turning. "This is incredible," she said. "It is bigger than we're used to," Gilorn admitted. "But do you like it?" "It's bigger than our entire home. Yes, I do." "Good." Gilorn smiled and embraced her. "The general wasn't in a talking mood, so we'll have the whole evening to ourselves." "Good. You can sort out my bags," Alfel smiled. "Is there somewhere I can wash before I eat?" "I'll bring some water up," Gilorn offered. "Food might be a bit scarce for this week. Faelthor's instructions to keep the fortress supplied got disrupted when we had to order soldiers over to Ferrus." "Ferrus?" "A lighthouse castle on the coast. Julius and some knights of Seaward are protecting the realm, but they're hugely undermanned, so Faelthor is sending some men to them. He left orders to resupply the fort, but the commander had to put those orders aside when he organized the men to mobilize." "Oh," Alfel rolled her eyes disappointedly. "You really know how to treat a girl, don't you?" Gilorn laughed. "I'll get the water. You get naked and ready for me." Alfel punched him in the chest. "Careful, maybe I will." She didn't, however. Gilorn came back with a large bucket of water and a kettle. Alfil was sitting on the bed, looking bored. Gilorn didn't stay to watch, despite her sarcastic offer, and went to get her food. He went into the hall where Turgon was in a much agreeable mood. 2 whores were naked and sword fighting in front of the throne. They were wearing soldier helmets and wielding wooden sticks. For a moment, Gilorn didn't know what to think, but then he remembered this was Turgon, and his surprise vanished. "Ah, Kingslayer," he greeted. "Come and meet, He gestured helplessly at the 2 women. "Ah, fuck it. Come join in." "No, thank you," Gilorn said. "I just came to get my wife something to eat." "Wives," Turgon shouted. "I hate them. This." He gestured to one of the whores to come over and sit on his lap. "This is true marriage." He plunged his tongue down her throat and shoved his hand inside her. "If I was meant to stick to a single woman, I would have been born with half a cock." "I couldn't imagine you without a set of breasts to bury yourself in, sir," Gilorn agreed monotonously, averting his eyes from the other whore, who was playing with her hair seductively for his attention. "By the father, you're right," Turgon bellowed. "Come on," he said to the whore. "Hop on then. You," he gestured to the other one. "Make yourself useful." Gilorn didn't wait to see how this would work, but simply grabbed a piece of bread, some slices of meat, and a jug of water. With immense difficulty, he managed to bring it back to his room without spilling it. Alfil was sitting on the bed, wiping her legs dry with a cloth, with her dress tucked up around her waist. Gilorn wanted to have her just then. The sight of the whores had piqued his interest, and his desire was quaking. "Is that food?" Alfil asked, sitting up and dropping the cloth in the bucket. "Yes," Gilorn held it out. "Hungry?" "Starving," Alfil said, taking the bread. "You may dry my legs, husband."